Hello and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this picture. Now this picture uses a light table technique with flash as the light source. The technique can be a valuable tool in the production of visual art images. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is a light table. Now I'm going to make one out of this fish tank. Just by adding a few bits of card. So it's really quite simple. All I'm going to do is place this card in the bottom of the tank, and then I'm going to place another piece across the tank, like so. There we go. So that makes a reflector. So the tank goes on its side, reflector goes in there. And then finally we have another piece of card which goes on the front. Just like that. There we are. Good. Now in order to make an even light source I'm using a piece of 219 diffusion material over the top of the tank, like so. So when I've set it all up I'll have the flash about here somewhere. Pointing into the tank, and that will bounce up onto the top here. By using flash you end up with a much more consistent result, and you really don't need a great deal of energy to do this, so you can easily do this with a normal speedlight. And then the next thing to do is to set up a tripod so that you can have the camera looking directly down on the top of the table. So what I've got here is the tripod that I usually use, but I've got it configured in an asymmetric manner. So the front legs here I can splay out all the way like this. And then I can place this on the table about there somewhere, like that. Now the back leg here, what I'm going to do is just place a sandbag on the base of the leg just to make the whole thing a bit more stable. There we go. There, so with the sandbag in position, this is really quite solid. Right. So as usual for the camera, what I'm using is a full frame digital SLR with a 24-70 zoom lens on the front of it and a flash sync trigger on the top. And now this flash sync trigger can also control the energy in the flash I'll be using. Now the camera is tethered into Capture One software, so it's easy to see the results as we go along. Okay, so what I'll do, just pop this on here, just like that. Right. So the next thing would be to just set up the light. So we'll just pop that there. So the flash is firing into the side of the tank, like so. So the next thing I want to do is just assess whether I'm getting any contamination from the house lights. So I'm going to turn the camera on, like so. And the software has recognized the camera, and you can see that the camera is in full manual mode, 100 ISO, 1/250th of a second for the shutter speed, which is the flash sync speed for that camera, and I've got an aperture set of f8. So just with those settings, what I'm going to do is grab an image, like so. There we are. And you can see, apart from the odd highlight in the glass, there is nothing there to speak of in terms of an image. So all the light that will be illuminating the subject will be coming from this flash. Alright, so just one final little thing is just to protect the top here, what I'm going to do is put a piece of glass down because I'll be using strawberries for this particular one, and they can be particularly messy. So I'm just going to use this piece of picture frame glass just across the top of the tank, like so. There we are. So with all that in place, it's time to just place the strawberries, which I've pre-sliced quite thinly, just to compose the image. So what I'll do is, starting with just one, I'll just pop that on the glass in the middle here, like so. And we'll have a little look and see what that looks like. Okay, so you can see that this is a wide angle that I have the lens set to at the moment. So what I might want to do is just zoom that in slightly. There we go. There, that's at the 70mm end of the lens. And we'll just focus that up. There we are. Okay, so with that one in position, what I can do now is just arrange some others. Just to build up the final picture. Okay, so there we are. They're all in place now. So we can dispense with these bits. And the next thing to do would be to set the energy on the flash. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is just turn this on. So, turn on the flash sync trigger. I'm going to trigger the camera from the software just to make sure that I don't disturb anything on here. So what we'll do, just with an arbitrary energy level set on the flash, I'll just grab an image and see what we get. Okay, well that's obviously a little overexposed. Now the technique to use for this type of photography is to make sure that the background is a pure white, but only just over pure white. In this case I do want it to be slightly over full saturation. So in order to help me do that, what I'm going to do is, on this software, I'm going to turn on the exposure warning, which is here. So if I do that now, you'll see that all this turns red because it's all overexposed. It's over 255 on the scale at the top here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take off 2 stops. So I'll just select that flash and we'll just take that energy down by 2 stops, like so. And now we'll fire that again. Okay, and now you can see that we have a slightly overexposed bit in the middle, but the rest is just under 255. So I actually want to go very slightly higher. So I'm just going to add maybe half a stop to that energy. There we go. And we'll just fire that again. There we are. So the difference between this one and this one is literally only half a stop. So it's only just over, so we know that. So I can turn the exposure warning off now, and we'll just have a look at the image and check the focus, which looks fine to me. Okay, so what I might do is just take another one with the exposure increased by maybe another half a stop, just to give me a choice when I come to do the post-production. So I'll just select that head again, and we'll just add another half stop to that, like so. We'll just grab that again. There we are. So now I've got a choice between these two, which are just slightly different densities. But the white is the same white on both of them. Okay, so that's the image captured. Now I'll just go into Photoshop and do the bare minimum of post-production. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, and I've loaded up the 2 files of the last 2 images that we captured earlier. So there's this one, and then I've got this one, which is half a stop more exposed, like so. And I think I actually prefer this one to the other one. I don't know whether you'll be able to see the difference by the time this is on YouTube, but on this calibrated monitor in front of me, you can see quite a huge difference between the two. So I think this is the one that I'm going to go with. Okay, so having decided that, what I'm going to do is make a copy of this file now, and the way that I tend to do that is to go onto the layer here, just right click the mouse, ask for a duplicate layer, but ask for a new file, a new document as they put it, and we'll just call that strawberry, like that. There we go. So now I can dispense with the two camera originals, which gives me redundancy. Okay, so having had a look around the image, one of the first things I want to do is just a little bit of retouching. I've noticed here that on the glass there is a small bit of debris, and there is some debris in some of the strawberries as well. So this all being white makes this quite easy to do. So what I'm going to do, again, just to make sure I've got redundancy, I'm going to add another layer, and I'm going to literally paint onto this layer white where these bits are. So I'll select a paintbrush, make sure that white is selected as the foreground colour. Just check the size. Yeah, that looks all right. We'll just paint that out like so. So now we can move around the image. Now on here, I have another little piece here, but this time what I want to do is clone this out. So again, what I'm going to go to is the background as the source, and I'm just going to use the clone stamp here. So holding down the Alt key, this will be the source that I'm picking up. But I'm not going to put it back onto this layer, I'm going to put it onto the first layer. There we go, so I'll just get rid of that. Now doing it this way means that I haven't altered the background image at all. If I take off the first layer there, you can see that that's come back again. So this all helps with making sure that you've got a clean background image that you can always go back to and re-edit if you need to. So on this point, for instance, I'm just going to change to the background image and change where I'm taking the source material from, like so. Then back onto the top layer, and we'll just paste that in, like that. Just getting rid of those bits. And just carry on and do that for the rest of the image. There we are. So with all that now done, what I can do is just select a crop. Now I'm using this for video, so I'm using a specific ratio, but obviously you can use a ratio which suits your subject. Okay, so we'll just have a little look at the composition. We'll just move that around to see which looks best. Yes, I quite like that. That's about there. Okay, so just click on the commit button, and there we have it. So using a light box like this with virtually any translucent subject can yield very good results. And you don't need a great deal of equipment to make this type of visual art. And all in all, I think that image has turned out very well. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed seeing how I made that, and if you like watching these sort of things, do click on the other images as they appear, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and click on the like button. Thank you very much for watching.